Hey guys, it's CarGuy11 here. We're doing our second live stream and just setting everybody up. But we have the same guys joining us as last time. We have AutoNut and Tom Gear. And be sure to look at your chat. And, there's a chat screen on the right side, and you can ask questions and just interact with us. We're going to be talking about Detroit, the car show. We all three of us were just there this week, and also any other car news you guys want to talk about. So let's see. I'm trying to see if I don't see it on YouTube yet. I don't know if it's a little delayed. You guys seeing it on YouTube?
They're delaying us. If we have any nudity?
It just started on mine.
Okay, here we go. Let's see here. Oh, there it is. There it is. All right, you got to mute the YouTube feed. All right, here we go. Let's see here.
We know what we're doing.
We've done this before, right? We're pros.
Sure.
But anyway, welcome guys again. Okay, I see a few guys showed up already. Hey Tech, how you doing? Gil. Yeah, definitely guys, just say hi so we see who's all watching, and we can shout you out. And yeah, definitely interact. One good thing about being a smaller channel, we could definitely answer everyone's questions and interact with you guys. So that's pretty cool. But
nobody loves us.
But anyway, I wanted to start talking about Detroit, and actually I got to go on a little rant here about Detroit.
Oh yeah.
Now, Detroit is the king show of North America, North American International Auto Show. I mean, it's supposed to be the biggest and baddest in North America. And I don't know, for me, it was a disappointment. Starting with lack of exciting introductions, it was more like a SUV show, not a car show. But that's only part of it. The other thing, there was a lack of nameplates, meaning no exotics, no Lamborghini, no Ferrari, no Bentley, no Rolls Royce. I mean, I get it's not LA and it's not New York, where you have a lot of money in those areas, but still, I mean, this is the North American International Auto Show. Everyone should be present. Besides those, no Maserati, no Porsche, no Jaguar, and no Land Rover. I mean, come on. Those are not exactly exotics. They should be present. I don't know. For me, that was pretty disappointing.
Sounds like Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, though, it doesn't matter. They should have everybody present. So, pretty disappointed with that. The other thing.
New guest.
What's that, Terry?
We got a new guest.
Yeah, don't mind my cat.
Oh, wow. He's going to sit on your head. Talk about messing up your hair, Tom. Here.
Comfortable.
But anyway, yeah, what do you guys think of this? I don't know. Detroit's becoming not the leading show, I think. I don't know if I'll go back soon. I mean, we were expecting some nice introductions too, the 2018 Mustang and the Corvette ZR1, yeah, which both didn't show up. I mean, that's the place to introduce American sports cars. I mean, so not too happy about that. And a lot of the cars there were also locked. You couldn't even get in, and we didn't even go into public show days. We went, which starts this weekend, by the way, starts today, the public show. We went on the industry preview day. So usually they have more of the cars open, and a lot of them were locked. So yeah, I'm not sure what's up with the show, but I don't know what you guys think of all that. My little rant.
Well, let me one up you there with that rant, CarGuy11. This is the last great decade of cars, and this car show is just the start of it. You're seeing a big push of hybrids, electric cars, autonomous cars. To me,
yes,
that's all.
No Tesla either.
Oh no! What we do? From an engineering perspective, I find it all very impressive, but I'm a driver. I enjoy driving cars. I have no interest in any of that. And, you know, I think as the years go on, the cars get more and more disappointing. And that's from all brands, for the most part, at least the brands I can afford. So I can go on and on and on about that. So,
yeah.
My thoughts on the Detroit Auto Show is that's the hometown of the big three, and Ford and Chevy and FCA GM and FCA did a good job. I mean they dominate that place, and then from that point on it just trickles away and there's nothing going on. But it also is a fairly small convention center. I was looking up some of the sizes. I was surprised at its size, and you compare it to New York and LA, there's a lot more exhibiting square footage. So maybe that's one of the reasons. Maybe they're pushing them out, because if you look, Ford, GM, and FCA took probably almost half that place. If you think of square footage, don't you guys agree?
Oh yeah, and one thing about FCA, they didn't introduce anything. I mean,
weird.
that
was
they
weird.
Yeah, no introductions at the show. I mean, their display was pretty awesome, I thought. I mean, it was very nice. They usually do a good job with their displays. But they did not introduce anything. And actually, there's one of the first comments here, somebody asking about Gil's asking about the Hellcat Demon. No, I did hear about it, but they didn't show it. And for those that didn't hear about it, the Hellcat Demon is supposed to be the King Dog Hellcat, more power, the wide body kit, and possibly all-wheel drive, I heard, but still some details lacking there. But they're going to be introducing that in New York, I believe. So,
like we were talking earlier, the all-wheel drive makes tons of sense because they can probably pull the transfer case out of the SRT Jeep, right? So you know something that can handle that kind of power. So that's not a question. And one of the weakest links of the Hellcat was traction. I mean, you'll spin tire all the way down the quarter mile. So if they put an all-wheel drive system on there and bumped up a little bit of power, it would definitely crush the Hellcat. So I think that's an easy option for them. So I believe those rumors for sure.
Can everybody hear us okay? Trying some new mics, and hopefully the stream is okay. But
one thing I will say was when I was younger, I'm still young, but when I was younger, and I remember just turning 16, getting my driver's license, going to the local auto show here in Pittsburgh, I looked forward to it, with great regard. And I remember almost there were some cars that were, disappointing, minivans and some SUVs and whatever, but I was interested in almost every single car I came across. There was something really interesting about it. There's a lot of new body styles coming out. Yep. We're getting a little bit more aggressive. The plastics were getting better. Interiors were getting better. Engines were getting better. And as years went on, it kind of plateaued. I want to say one of the things that I remember was I remember seeing the concept Stingray before they came out with the C7. I thought that was so cool. They adopted some things from it, but there was it was just cool to have that there. And, you know, I think that shortly after that is kind of where the plateau finished. After that, things have been going downhill. Yeah, you get cars that are long awaited, like when the C7 was announced in 2013. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was super exciting. I mean, all the, you know, they had a nice show. They, you know, did a nice job introducing it. And I really expected the ZR1 to be there this year. I mean, that would have been the place to do it. Why? And if Mustang's not going to be until New York, then why compete with Mustang at the same show? You know, typically Mustangs are introduced in New York in April, but why compete at the same show? So that was kind of lame on GM's part there.
Maybe they're not ready.
It is possible they're not ready, but I mean, they can throw a concept. I mean, they can call it even the concept. They don't have to say it's a production version. They didn't show anything new on Corvette.
You know, I always think it's strategic for some reason, you know, because they, like you said, there's options they could do. Do you think they're waiting for the 500 or something, or what do you think they'd be waiting for if it was a marketing reason?
Yeah, that's a good point. I actually forgot about the GT500. That's another one Mustang could have introduced, or Ford could have introduced, the GT500. Then they could have done the 2018 refresh in April in New York. So
with the hybrid, woo!
No, that's the next gen. I think that one will be 2021.
Do you want to get caught up with some of the questions here? We got a few. I don't want to get too far away.
Yeah. Let's see what everyone's talking about here. Yep. Yeah. Is it spring yet? Actually, this winter hasn't been all too bad. I mean, it's gonna be in the 50s all next week. So
crazy year.
Not a bad year. It was in the high 60s this past week one day. So we got a little bit of snow, but actually I want some snow because I like skiing and also want to use the Jeep a little bit. So I'm sure we're gonna get hit here. Yeah, I can't say too much yet, but winter's half over already, so that's a good thing.
You know, the world's coming to an end when you're hitting 50s in Chicago in January.
Yeah.
I mean, usually we're rooting for double digits, let alone 53 degrees and stuff. So it's a little scary.
All right. Let's see. BMW M5. What did you think of the 2018 WRX and WRX STI?
Good question.
Yeah. Nothing. No big changes there. It's a little bit in the front end. And I know, Autona, you have something to say about the plastic on the front end. You hate when, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the grills, the fake grills. Is that what you're alluding to?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why that bothers me so much, but they come up with these nice honeycomb grills and all these different things that makes it look like a big stand. You know, they're trying to make a stance, like I don't know, a strong visionary thing, and they're closed off. All of them are all closed. So like this gigantic grill will have this 3-inch opening. It's like, what, you know, why do that? It's just so weird. You think that they could fill it in with body panels or make it more aerodynamic and still make it look good. To make fake grills, just, I don't know why that bothers me. Just it's fake. It's like putting those plastic things on your calipers to make it look like you have gigantic Brembos, you know? Like, oh, right. Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and a lot of the manufacturers are putting those grill shutters that actually close and open based on...
that's great. I love stuff like that. That makes complete sense. Absolutely. But
yeah, but other than that, nothing majorly changed there. I know the STI had those bright lime green brake calipers, which I don't believe they've ever had, so that's pretty cool. Again, nothing major. Unfortunately, they're not redesigning those two. The Impreza just got redesigned, and they're not going to do the redesign on the WRX STI until, I believe, 2020 or something. So no big changes there, no engine changes, no anything until 2020.
I went over the two display models pretty close because they had the WRX on the left side and the STI on the right, and I went around and videoed a lot of them because I've always liked the WRX for some reason. And looking at it, and a couple things I noticed about the WRX still is their brakes are dismal. I mean,
oh yeah, the WRX are tiny.
It's amazing. I was expecting maybe they would bump that up a little bit, like they did, which I guess they did with that Sport model, the WRX Sport. They bumped up the brakes a little bit, but I was expecting more than a double piston cast iron small brake system on a WRX.
But they painted them red.
Yeah, they did. They did paint them red. And the STI, there was nothing that stuck out. I mean, it was the same thing, nice braking system. It's just a very nice car. The styling, you know, you always have that crazy wing. That didn't change much, and it looked good. Both of them looked good. Nothing really stood out negative or positive except the fake grill stuff. But wish they would improve the brakes a little bit on the WRX, that's all. But I guess that's, I don't even know, maybe there is going to be an option. Maybe you can get a WRX and get like a Brembo brake package for people that actually care. So
that would be good, yeah. I think there is a performance package, but I don't believe it includes Brembos.
Okay.
The BRZ though, refresh, the cool thing there, the engine is, the intake is all red. I don't know if anyone's seen pictures of that, but it's coated red, which is pretty cool. And I know Tom Gear liked the wing on it, which I've never seen. It's a pedestal wing.
Oh,
and
yeah. It was aluminum too, right?
Yeah, I think the BRZ is very overpriced, like a lot of cars are today. But there was some nice features on the refresh, like the big wing. Well, I shouldn't say big, but elongated wing. You know, the revised fascia was nice. I like to drive one, but I'll probably end up buying one if I do. So I'm trying not to because I don't want to spend $29,000 for a little tiny Subaru. But yeah, it was a nice car. One of the few nice cars I've seen at Detroit.
Yeah, the wing was pretty cool because it was aluminum, which is different, and it was black. And again, I'm not sure if that maybe it's an accessory option or what, but the car that had it was there, so that was what was different.
Yeah, we couldn't find any information on it at the display there. It just sort of had this wing, so it didn't say, like you said, it didn't seem like it was a, you know, what's the option for Subaru, their little aftermarket. You know,
yeah, I don't know, STI.
Yeah, but didn't say it was that. But that was a neat car, and like Tom said too, Tom Gear says, is, you know, it's a cool car, and it's something that'd be neat for a first time somebody that wants to go and do some racing, autocrossing, rear wheel drive, not too overpowered but smooth. But the pricing, I mean, yeah, I really agree with Tom Gear. I really wish they could make it more economical for a kid to be able to buy, like a younger guy, to be able to buy it new. Sure, they will be able to buy it used and stuff, but I think that would be a neat first car if they could get it under 30. A little, you know, if you could do that car for 25.
They could probably do it for less. The problem with it used is they still go for relatively high amounts of money
because they sell so few. It's you know, it's really a rare car, so I think that's why they hold their value.
Gotcha.
All right, let's see what else we have here. Hey Matt, hello.
Yeah, we talked about no ZR1.
Yeah, we already talked about no ZR1. Hey Corvette 918. Yeah, pretty uneventful again. Looking for that ZR1, of course. Yeah, FCA teased that SRT Demon. Unfortunately, they didn't even tease it at the show. I mean, really, there was no mention of it at the show. I heard about it after the show. But one cool thing about the FCA or Dodge display I thought was pretty cool. They had like a road painted on the ground, and it was like Hellcat, Viper. They had all the performance models like on a painted road, and their display I thought was pretty neat. And they also had a Mopar section with all the performance parts, which and showed it was almost SEMA-like in a way. Which was cool. I really enjoyed their display.
And everything molded together, right? You had Ram, you had all that whole FCA group was like sort of all molded together in that corner, and that was pretty neat.
And yeah, Jeep's display was pretty good, but Jeep always had a nice display.
But they didn't show the SRT8.
That's another one. Good point.
Which, the Jeep SRT8?
Yeah.
No, they had one. They had one there. It wasn't like featured, but that one was.
I missed it.
Yeah, it was a white one with black wheels.
I missed that one also. I always try to look at the SRT8s too.
Well, they needed to show the Hellcat. They needed to show the Hellcat version of the Grand Cherokee, because that's supposed to be coming too. So they had all these opportunities to show something. They showed nothing, which is disappointing. The only thing they did bring was the autonomous car from CES. So Tom Gear actually was at CES. That little, I don't know, was a bubble thing. I don't even know what it's called.
There's a lot of weird concept cars. There was a VW minibus that had a rotating Buddha. And there was a freaking, was it Mitsubishi or Nissan or whatever, had freaking grass and weeds growing in the front of another concept. Think of the craziest things you've ever seen in a car, and you can apply that to the things we saw at CES and at Detroit. Well, some at Detroit, more so at CES. I've never thought I'd see weeds growing at the front of a car. Explain the logic.
Green. Everything's green, you know. That's the message there. But Autonuts, Corvette 918 likes your AirPods.
Yeah.
It's working well, huh?
Yeah, they're great. I mean, I know. I'm not as much of an Apple fanboy as I used to be, but I'm pretty pleased with these ones. I did a small video on them, and didn't get great response because I'm not that popular on YouTube, but I did a little like unboxing and just first thoughts, and it's pretty much exactly the same as my first thoughts. I've had them for a while now, and they're exactly what you expect out of them. Little glitchy, couple things, which I said I think they're glitchy in this way, that way, and yeah, they were. They haven't changed yet, so. But yeah, they work good. Do I sound okay?
Yeah, sounds great.
Cool. There you go.
Tech, you posted a comment about Motor Trend saying anybody born today will never drive a car in their lifetime. I actually posted the article on Instagram. Yeah, when that came out, I saw that too. It's a shock and awe type of article, but it's something that you don't really think about. But it's possible that autonomous driving is coming sooner than we think. I mean, it's already here almost. I mean, it'll never be totally autonomous for everywhere in the whole country or whole world, but all the major roadways, I'm sure will be. So I did see that. It's something scary to think about.
I say good riddance to those kids. More cars for me to buy and drive.
Yeah, that topic got pretty heated between CarGuy and I, because I just I don't see that being true. I mean, I think you'll have the option in 16 years that you don't have to buy a vehicle, but I cannot see most of those dirt roads and the back roads of our country. You're not going to drive in a fully autonomous vehicle. There's still going to have to be like a manual operation. You're still going to have to know how to take over the vehicle. I cannot believe that.
When it snowed.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, a really good snowstorm, right? Everything's covered. I mean, it's just a little too much. And I can see 30 years. I think the biggest problem, the technology will definitely be there. Everything else will be there. But our biggest issue is our infrastructure on roads. There's no way that that's going to be able to do that. So I disagree with that. I think that robotics guy was just making a point about the technology itself, and that people would, technically in an ideal world would not ever touch a car manually that way. But
yeah, but sorry to interrupt, but let's expand.
No,
you got a lot of these ride sharing services now, like Lyft and Uber, where all these kids now have iPhones, smartphones, at a young age. Now they don't need to ask their parents for a ride. They can say, "Oh, go take an Uber, go take a Lyft," They can do it right from their phones, link it to their parents' bank account.
Yeah.
And, you know, I happen to know a few people personally that actually moved to the city, sold their cars because now they just use Uber Lyft to get everywhere. So you can kind of expand the meaning of that article and say, yeah, maybe autonomous cars aren't going to be completely autonomous, but maybe kids born today still won't drive because they have other means, other forms of transportation.
That's true. And the other scary part is when the car tells you to take over, they're not going to know how to drive.
Yeah.
Like in the winter, and the worst conditions, like an accident avoidance type situation or winter driving. I mean, if they're not experienced driving on good roads, they're going to freak out when the car tells them to take over in bad conditions.
The one I'm willing to bet that kids born today will never get an opportunity is to drive a fossil fuel vehicle. I'm willing to bet that.
More gasoline for me.
That's a good question. What will be first? The demise of the internal combustion engine or autonomous driving? I mean, what's going to be first, electric car or autonomous car?
Yeah. So you want to we're getting behind on questions.
Yeah, we are getting behind here.
We're losing viewers
because we're not answering any questions.
I think the 3 people watching right now are me, you, and Terry.
Oh shoot, we lost our viewers.
They were waiting for Tom. I was boring them.
But don't worry, people are still gonna watch this after the live stream. So
yay!
But
I'm hungry. Make me something to eat.
All right, let's see. Oh, thanks, Gil. Been following the channel for a while. Good vids, man. Some of them help me do stuff to my C7 Z06. Cool. Glad it helped.
Did you skip the rest in peace the 90Z class from Matt Rosenthal?
Oh, I didn't see that. Yep.
What's that mean?
I guess he's talking about just the autonomous part or the gasoline part. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe Matt will chime in more there.
I think in general you say rest in peace to Mercedes because the build quality is awful.
The old ones though were built like tanks. So
yeah.
Let's see. Thoughts on the new Ford GT?
I got some thoughts.
They showed the I guess it's the production version. It was a deep, darker red with black wheels, and it had the carbon fiber wheels. I actually wasn't a fan of the wheels because they were not concave, deep dish like the aluminum wheels that we've seen before. They were kind of flat, so I wasn't a fan of it. I'll be posting some videos this week though, of the car show with more pictures and such. But yeah, other than that, I know what Tom Gear's getting at. I think he's going to say something about the fuel economy of the
I hate anything with the word eco in it. Eco tech, eco boost. It's all eco shit. Okay, you might need to beat me there, but here's a problem. You have an iconic name like Ford GT. Put a proper motor in it. Yeah, I think Ford just used it as a marketing thing, right? Oh, we got this new EcoBoost engine. We're going to put it in our flagship car, which no one can buy. Oh, and by the way, that EcoBoost gets a gas guzzler tax because it sucks fuel.
It gets worse fuel economy than the old GT, I think.
I'm sure.
And then you don't have the bragging rights of having a V8.
That old GT had a truck engine, which people criticized, but the 5.4-liter Triton V8 was an awesome engine, very powerful, very torquey. You know, and then you throw a supercharger on it, and my God, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, I was hoping for, you know, they're so proud of their flat plane crank. Throw that in there and throw some turbos on it.
Right.
You know?
Other than that, it was just on the turntable. Again, you couldn't really get up too close, but they did have the Le Mans winning car, which was still covered in debris and just off the racetrack. So that was pretty cool to see in person. Had some damage on it, had road debris, and yeah, it was the actual car that won Le Mans.
So my thoughts real quick on the GT is the styling, of course, is beautiful. It's a very, very good looking car, and I'm not even a huge fan of the GTs, unfortunately, but it's absolutely beautiful. The wheel cutaway was neat. Going back to what CarGuy was saying about, you know, it not being recessed and stuff. I don't know if they had to keep it a little bit more meaty. They had to keep a little bit more material there for strength or something, but yeah, the design was definitely a lot more simple. Maybe just manufacturing, being able to manufacture the like fishing of the wheel or whatever. Maybe that was tough. And the other funny thing that actually CarGuy pointed out was when we were at the show was on the front wheels only, they had a stripe of like ceramic paint on the inside of the wheel, this white stripe. To I guess the only thing we could think of is protecting it from like heat from pieces of the brake pad and stuff. You know, melting the carbon fiber or something. But it was only on the front.
That was on the GT350R. I believe it's
okay.
on both. But yeah, any of those carbon fiber wheels, I believe, need like a heat barrier on the inside of the wheel. But it's white. It doesn't match the black of the wheel outside of the wheel. So that's kind of I don't really like that.
Yeah, that was odd. But
okay, let's move on here. Any thoughts from Corvettes 918? Any thoughts on the new Michelin Pilot Sports 4S's? Actually, we did see those in person. They had the display there, and we were talking about it. My thoughts were, man, there's hardly any grooves in it. It's similar. It's almost closer to the Sport Cup 2s than the Pilot Super Sports that's on my Corvette. I worry that it may be a little too aggressive for driving in the rain, but I don't know. It's closer to the Sport Cup 2s than the existing Super Sports.
Do we know if those tires are available for sale yet?
I haven't seen them.
I'm going on Tire Rack right now.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm sure they're going to be more pricey than the Super Sports, but I'm pretty happy with the Super Sports. If you're going to drive it on the street and you're going to encounter rain or conditions, I would go for the Super Sports over the Sport Cup 2s, because those I'm sure will be dangerous if you encounter any kind of water. But if you're only driving on nice days and at the track, then maybe the Sport Cup 2s would be better. But they're holding up fine for me. In 10,000 miles, I still probably have 50%. So I think they'll last another season at least for me.
I love them as long as they really do match the category that they're trying to sell them as. So like you said, you got the Super Sports, then you got the Sport 4s, and then you have the Cup 2s. I felt there was a pretty big gap between the two, and I wasn't interested in either one. The Super Sports are a great tire, but as little as I drive the vehicle and as little, I mainly do track time with it, I was leaning Cup 2s, but the Cup 2s are just a little too scary. You get caught. I do want to do some rallies, and if you get caught in the rain, like you said, you're toast. I mean, you're not getting anywhere. So that middle ground would be interesting to me. I actually would look closer into those tires if they meet the performance like they're saying, more than a Super Sports and less than the Cup 2s would be perfect.
Yeah, they're not for sale yet.
Okay. Probably coming off for the spring track season.
So what's interesting is, if I'm just looking at my Corvette, so it's 245 in the front, 285 in the back. The Pilot Super Sports on Tire Rack for the rear, which is 285, is basically $300 aside for the Super Sports. And then if you go and you look at the Sport Cup 2s, $472 for the rears.
Wow. And they won't last as long as well.
Oh yeah, the tread wear rating is see, it's 180 to 300.
Right. Now the other question I have is, are they going to keep the Super Sports and sell the 4S alongside it, or are they going to discontinue the Super Sports?
Well, the way they put that in the verbiage on that plaque, it said it was going to be in between. So I don't see why they would have to get rid of those super sports. The super sports are selling so well, and plus I don't see them getting rid of them for the fact that they came OEM on a lot of cars. You know,
Right.
people just get the same tire all the time, and now they have an option of going up or down. But
Yeah, it looks like the tire's not available yet. I don't know when it's going to be, but would be interesting. I know from personal experience, I've driven the super sports in some pretty nasty conditions, and they're pretty impressive. Now, if you want to misbehave, you certainly can get into trouble. But it's by far the best tire I've ever had on a sports car. I mean, I'm comparing now to my Mustang. It came with a crappy Pirellis. When you would put your foot down, the back end would jump, or you could feel the tire spinning. And with the super sports, it hooks up. It hooks up real good. I mean, it's impressive.
A lot of talk on the Challenger SRT Demon again. One thing I can say about Dodge and FCA, man, do they keep a model going and exciting. I mean, how long has it been out? Like 10 years? It's getting so long in the tooth, yet they keep adding models and refreshing it and getting people excited about it again with this now with this Demon version. So I know they don't have a lot of capital to spend. I mean, they're hurting for cash, so but they just do an excellent job of keeping their existing product exciting, including the Charger and the 300 and the Jeep Grand Cherokee so old. I mean, everything is so old, but they keep doing these refreshes and adding exciting models.
Yeah, I agree. But the thing with, let's use the Jeep, for example. That's an iconic vehicle. The Jeep brand in general has a lot of history. The Grand Cherokee goes back a while. The Cherokee goes back a while. The Wrangler really goes back a while. I don't really see issues with continuing to keep the product around, refreshing it as needed. But yeah, there are certain Dodge brands that probably should go.
Well, I think the Chrysler, I mean, has nothing now, pretty much. They have the Pacifica and the 300. I don't see why they bother keeping Chrysler around. They should make Dodge and then Ram and Jeep.
Bring back Plymouth.
They always talk about that.
They did shed brands, but they need to. I think they need to shed Chrysler now. I mean, I know Chrysler is the namesake of the company, but I don't know. Needs help. Let's see.
So I see what Matt was talking about with the '90s E-Class. He's referring to the underpinnings of all the Dodge rear drive platforms.
Good one. Yes, yeah. The even the Grand Cherokee's Mercedes platform. That was when they did that tie-up. So that's how old those models are. It goes back to then.
Yeah.
You guys on Instagram, we are all on Instagram. If you don't know, it's in the description of the video of this live stream. So if you guys are asking about us. Yeah, the Hellcat weighs, I think it's 4,400 pounds, not 4,000. And the new one with the wide body and the bigger tires, it's even going to go up more. So.
And all-wheel drive, possibly.
Yeah, and all-wheel drive. Yeah.
It's going to be the weight of a Ram.
I was going to say that Challenger is heavy as it is.
All right, thanks, Tech. You're still here. It's that was at 11:27, so we're still a little behind here. But yeah, the Hellcat has a square 275 square setup. I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Wasn't aware of that. But, let's see. That's the Matt comment again. The Hellcat is 275. yeah, very small tires for Hellcat. That's why they're doing a wide body. They need to get bigger rubber under there.
Yeah, the 275 Pirelli P0s. Huh.
Is it in the front as well?
Yeah.
Oh, those are the stock tires for the Mustang. Those are terrible tires. I can't imagine that on a Hellcat.
That's crazy.
Now I wonder why people are wrecking these cars pulling out of the dealership. It's basically like driving on plastic wheels.
Oh, Matt asked if you've seen the episode of Grand Tour where Hammond brought Hellcat and 2 semi-truck tires. Yeah,
Yeah.
2 semis filled with tires. I did see that. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. America.
You saw that, Tom, you're right.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah, Richard Hammond's always been the resident American in that group.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
All right, I think that covers most of the comments. Go ahead, guys, and comment more if you have more questions. But all right, let's say some positive things about Detroit now. I think one of my favorite things, I still love the Alfa Romeos, and I got to see the Giulia Quadrifoglio in person, and even the base model Giulia was there as well. It looked great. The only problem is they had them locked. You couldn't sit in them. You couldn't. That bothers me. But I think they told Tom Gare because they wanted to. Would they say it's?
No. That was my own theory, and I think that the theory is valid. They see Alfa Romeo kept their cars locked because the cars would fall apart from all the people.
No, they
up to the amount of traffic that car shows like that get. I guarantee that had to have crossed someone's mind that was managing that Alfa Romeo portion of the show. Guaranteed.
It may have been
all cars take abuse.
They may have been pre-production models, but anyway, they also had the SUV, the Stelvio, on display on a turntable. So they look great. I definitely want to check them out when they hit dealers. But that was exciting to see. And they had a very bright blue color, which actually was similar to my Corvette, which I haven't seen at all yet. So I don't know if that's a concept or if they're actually going to offer that color. But yeah, that was exciting to see. And as I said, the base models look almost as good as the Quadrifoglio. I mean, there's no spoiler and the non-quad exhaust, but otherwise the stance and stuff, it looks great, in my opinion. What'd you guys like at the show?
Good, Tom.
That's a tough question.
You're a little quiet, Tom.
Not much on my end. I liked sitting in the Viper. It was nice to know that I could actually fit in it because we previously, it's been, I think it probably was 2 years ago now when we kind of, or maybe even longer than 2 years when it kind of came out. We sat in it and I really couldn't fit in it. And I don't know, maybe it broke because, Dodges are a little dodgy. But the seat adjustment really probably wasn't working. But I can report that I can fit in the Viper, and it really has me considering somehow trying to sell a kidney to get a Viper in my life. But once again, another cool car that's going to be dying. So Viper was cool. BRZ was cool. What else did I like? Oh, the new F-150. It's a truck, but it's always been something that it's the most popular vehicle in the world for a reason, right? So. Oh,
I do have to say something about the F-150, which tells a little bit about the 2018 Mustang. They had the 5-liter V8 that's going to be in the F-150 on display, and that is one thing I love about the Detroit show or some of these bigger shows. They have all the cutouts of the engine. So they had the 2018 F-150 5-liter on display, and it's still a 5.0, which to me means the new 2018 Mustang will keep the 5.0. And last time we were talking about rumors of the 4.8 and why would they change the displacement. I still think the 4.8 is going to be a forced induction V8, either the EcoBoost twin turbo V8 or probably turbo, not supercharged. But that's what I think of the 4.8. That's just my opinion. But good to see that they had the 5.0. It was direct injection and port fuel injection. They had some other updates, and I did cover that. I'll post a video on that. I filmed it. I think they beefed up the bottom end a little bit. They have a composite oil pan, which I'm not sure if the present 5-liter has. Some other small things. They did not announce the power figures, but surely it's going to go up. But that was cool to see. Autonaut, your anything that stuck out at the show?
Couple small things. I mean, the Power Wagon. I'm a big fan of the Power Wagon because I like pickup trucks, and to be able to have one that can do decent off-road would be pretty fun. I mean, the length of a pickup truck is inhibiting for true off-roading, but enough to do some small stuff. You know what I mean? And it has a locking front and rear, and it's a solid front axle, and it's there's a couple of neat things about that Power Wagon. And like Tom Gear says, as long as it just doesn't rust apart on the way from the dealership.
Let's not forget about the Ram Rack, the most pointless accessory which we can't even figure out what it's for, and it's so poorly put together. I would love someone to tell me what the purpose of that is for. But it's in the back of the bed, and it's like a hoop, and you literally can push this thing, and it starts moving like this, flagellating, because it's so poorly put together. Or maybe it's not poorly put together, but it just broke. I don't know.
It was shaped like that old Daytona option that they had. Remember, they had that wing on the back of the Rams, and they called it the Daytona. Yeah. It was that same kind of weird shape of the big wing. And
that's what I thought it was at first.
Yeah, we both did. Yeah, we're like, oh, that's weird looking. It's because it was a little forward, but yeah, I don't know. I wish they would have put something on it to show its function, because looking at it, we couldn't figure out how you would use it. It was just strange. So positives. Seeing the Ram, seeing the Camaro, the ZL1 in person, that was pretty neat. I know they're out there, but that was the first time I got to see it and sit in it. What other positives were good about that?
The single seat or two-person car? What was that we saw in the beginning?
Oh yeah, that's Essie. Place it's made in the USA, and it's a little single seater. Yeah.
It's gas though, which is really strange. Gas and manual.
Yeah, it's gas. It's a manual. It's like a car smashed on. Usually these little one-seaters and stuff, they basically take a motorcycle and they turn it into a motorcycle with a cover on it. And this one was like a car that they turned into a three-wheel car, which I haven't seen that before. You can get a manual, a proper gearbox where you're rowing the gears, not like a motorcycle where it's one down, two up kind of mentality, parking brake. I mean, the whole thing was laid out like a car, and then the options. I built one online, and it's neat. You can pick like heated seats and certain things, like all these car amenities to it. And it's built in the USA, and the base price is like $7,000, which
I'm just curious, what do we know what the price of a coffin is? Because it's kind of shaped like a larger coffin, and you're undoubtedly going to get killed in one, so it could be convenient.
Well, we talked in quite excess about the crash test, and they're getting 5-star ratings. And the funny part was, I said, well, how the hell do you get a good side impact? I mean, you're sitting there, like you said, it's a coffin. I mean, how is an F-150 going to come in and T-bone you, and you're not going to die? And he brought up a very, very good point. He goes, that single tire in the rear, let's go, and sort of just spins it around. Now, if you get sandwiched, you're in trouble. But I guess just that crash test, and that's one of my problems with these crash tests. They try to they try to imitate something that happens in real life. You know, that's what the test is. But unfortunately, that's where that one will get a good rating, where in real life it might not. I mean, if there's something even slightly, you know, another car to keep it from spinning around, you know what I mean? You're in trouble. So it might technically get a 5-star, but I would never want to be in that situation.
Yeah. Tech asks, when is the Geneva Auto Show? I know the New York is in April. Geneva's in March, so we should see more of the foreign introductions in Geneva, and also, of course, that's an exotic show, so you'll see all the exotics debut things there. Never been to that one.
Nope. Been to Frankfurt.
Frankfurt.
That was a good show. Yeah, that was a crazy show.
Chicago's a
Gotta
big show as far as square footage. It's huge. I think that's the biggest one in the country. But the debuts there, maybe Chicago is going to be bigger than Detroit, honestly, though, because that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Maybe.
Oh, that certainly will. There's more square footage in Chicago.
No, but I mean, maybe they're actually going to release more in Chicago, since Detroit was pretty lame.
Yeah. I'd be surprised, but you never know. I mean, I can't get over how big that show is in Chicago. I mean, it's a long event if you want to walk through it all.
Yeah, I mean, it took us all day for Detroit, and
yeah,
Chicago is. I mean, you need one of those hoverboards or something.
Right.
No, what you need is an old person scooter, like a hover round, and then you can team it with a moo-moo. So you get a little bit of keep you cool and you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Or you know, from Star Wars, Yoda, he floats on that disc, and it follows his friends as they walk along. So you guys can walk, and I can sit on the hoverboard or hover disc. And although I can't sit Indian style because my legs are too long, and then there's no back support either, so that would be an issue. But in theory, it's a great idea. My 2 cents. All right. And rant.
All right, here we go. Hey, Dan of New Jersey. This one, Tom Gear can answer. Dan has a C6 Corvette, and he's interested in upgrading his radio, which is awful, to an upgraded Kenwood with all the bells and whistles. I know Tom Gear upgraded his C6 stereo system.
Yeah, so that's actually interesting. So actually, I thought the C6 Corvette, I think Corvettes in general from C6 on had good audio systems. The Z06 had a little bit better the upgraded Bose system. But actually, if you have a base C6, which I'm not sure to say if he does or not.
I think his picture is like it's the base, I believe.
Yeah, so if you have a base C6, it's actually easier to do aftermarket upgrades, believe it or not, at least based on everything I've read and researched. So yeah, I retained the 8-inch woofers in the door because you're not going to really get any better bass response. And there's a built-in amplifier already in the floorboard that powers those woofers and the rest of the speakers. Now, that does limit you on what you want to do. You can certainly replace the amp. I didn't, but I did replace the mids and then the center speaker as well with, I think I used Infinity. But as far as the head unit, I think I actually went with Kenwood. I could be wrong about that. It's either Kenwood. No, it was JVC. I used the JVC because of I like the features, the screen size, etc. The one thing I will say, which is a pain, is you have to get this module, which basically converts when you press a button on any of the controls in the C6, the way it worked is it went through the radio, and you'd hear the beep, beep, beep through the radio. It would go through the radio and then through the speakers. Don't ask me why GM did that, but what the module allows you to do is not only allows you to adapt to the wiring harness of the Corvette, but it also kind of bypasses that audio through the speakers, the buttons, and it allows you to basically either eliminate the beeping or there's a little tiny built-in speaker in the module itself. The problem is that little tiny built-in speaker is really annoying, really high-pitched, and I ended up wrapping it in sound insulation to try to muffle the sound. So it can be done. You can remove the center dash area in a fairly reasonable amount of time.
So basically, you're saying replace the head unit, keep the speakers for the subwoofers.
No. So as a general rule, once you replace the head unit, you're more than likely going to blow a speaker. Now that's in a traditional car, and that's because traditional receivers have lower.
But what you did, you kept the.
I kept the original woofers. I think the Corvette's an exception because the Corvette speakers are amplified by a standalone dedicated amp, so they were already amplified and not by the receiver. Most stock cars you get the speakers are amped through the receiver itself, and they're pretty underpowered. And because the Corvette has 8-inch woofers in each door, the stock head unit, any head unit, is not going to be able to power those, let alone all the rest of the speakers. So
hope that answers your question, Dan.
Yeah, sorry, I can go on a rant.
Tech asks, and this again, Tom Gear has an answer for. What are your guys' thoughts on getting clear wrap protection for the C7? Are there any good installers in the Pittsburgh area?
What? Don't get me started on that. Okay.
Tom Gear got his Mustang almost fully clear film protected.
So, my opinion on it is, it really depends where you're driving your Corvette or any car for that matter. Me personally, I do a lot of driving, and in this part of the country in Pittsburgh, the roads aren't the greatest. You also have people with mud on their vehicles, dirt, whatever hits the car. I couldn't tell you the number of times I've been hit by weird stuff and it's damaged the car or ruined the paint or whatever. So I decided when I bought my first brand new car, which by the way was a mistake. I should never bought a brand new car. It's a waste of money. But when I bought a brand new car, I'm like, you know what? I know how my luck has been with paint. I'm going to pay to get Expel Ultimate Film put on. So I spent $2,500 to get the mirrors wrapped, the whole hood, which had to be a custom job at the time, the whole front end, the headlights, the fog lights, everything. Now I'll tell you, it has protected the paint. I have gotten some huge hits. I actually had a couple of hits which actually ripped the film. That's how hard it hit. So imagine if it actually had hit the paint. It saved the paint under the film, but the film looks like crap now. Whereas if it had hit the paint, I could have used like a good touch-up paint, like a Dr. Color chip, and it wouldn't have been as noticeable unless you're close up. But now I can't touch up the film. Right?
It's a rough surface now, right?
It sticks out like a sore thumb. Now, I can rip the film off, but I'd have to rip off the entire, in this particular situation, it was on the hood. I'd have to rip off the entire hood, which cost $800 just for the hood.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's why I didn't do it on mine. I figure I'll just touch up the bad ones, and you're not really going to notice unless you're right up on it. But I do have some small chips. I mean, you're going to get them no matter what. But to me, it's not a show car. It's a car I enjoy driving. And
yeah, I mean, and the other thing too is there are inherent imperfections in all films, and depending on how it's applied, they can develop stretch marks. Like for example, on my hood of my Mustang, there's some sharp angles and stuff, and the film actually had to be kind of stretched over it. And there, before there was any rips or tears or nicks taken out of it, there were some stretch marks that actually kind of look like stretch marks that you'd have like on your body. So, the film's going to improve.
Was that the way it was after you, like right out after they did it? It had those, or did those develop after some time? Really?
Oh, yeah, right when I picked up the vehicle, and the
Wow.
guy said, listen, that's from me applying it. You know, that's really what you get with these cars. I mean, you can't really see it unless you look at it at a certain angle under certain lighting conditions. But if you got a trained eye, yeah, absolutely, you can see it. I know I could see it, and I was pissed. You know, and then the other thing is, no matter how good of a person you get to apply the film, and don't try to apply the film yourself, because you're not going to be able to do it as good as a professional, and you're not going to want to because it's a pain. But no matter how good they apply it, you're going to have some gaps. You know, they try to wrap the edges wherever possible, but there are some spots that they just can't. And what happens is the edges can lift, you can get dirt in there, and then the only thing that they can really do is kind of cut it away. So,
and you're always going to see seams, and it's never going to be perfectly covered. The sharp edges, you always have to leave a relief for. So
yeah.
I
So
don't know.
the last note I'll say is they warranty the Expel Ultimate in this case for like 10 years, but it's hilarious because I know for a fact I'm not even going to get 5 years out of the film. They don't warranty chips. They don't warranty scrapes or scratches. Actually, I will say one good thing about the film. I could scratch the hell out of the film on purpose, and it will disappear. This particular film has a self-healing property, which is really cool. That part's cool, but as far as like chips and rips and tears and stuff, they don't warranty that. They warranty like discoloration, lifting. But I know I'm not going to get 10 years out of the film. I'm not even going to get 5. In fact, I'm ready to rip it off this winter.
Well, all right, guys, we're at an hour, so I think we're going to wrap this up. Appreciate everybody watching. Definitely follow and subscribe if you haven't, and hit the notification button, because then you'll be notified when we do these live streams, and you won't miss it. Thanks again, guys, for watching. You can comment below if you're watching this on the replay. We'll monitor those and answer anybody else's questions about Detroit or any other car news. But yeah, it was fun. We'll do this again in the future. So we'll see you next time. Take it easy, guys.